Hey guys, how's it going? This is Mike from M&R Automotive. Today we have a 2025 GMC Yukon Denali and we installed two 40-inch slim light bars. Alright, so in order to install the light bars, first we have to remove the front end. We're going to remove the top cover. It's held by push pins, so just use a prying tool or a flathead screwdriver. Pop these clips and you just kind of pry it up. Raise the head of the clip and then pry it underneath. Before we remove the top cover, we got to remove this lever for the hood. And it's a T15 Torx. These two screws, we're not going to set them aside far because I like to reinstall the latch as soon as we take that liner out. So that way, in case if you close the hood, it's not going to be super difficult to open it. So remove the two screws, slide it forward. Now we're going to just remove the liner and we can reinstall this lever. Next, we're going to remove 6 10mm bolts. Alright, so now we're on the driver's side inner fender and we got to peel back this liner. We're going to remove 5 Torx screws. It's also a T15. And when we remove it, we'll be able to peel back the liner and get access to the rest of the hardware. So in addition to the 5 that we removed on the outside, there's one inner towards the bottom. It's also that Torx screw. Okay, so now we can peel back the inner liner. So now what we have to do, we have to separate the fender from the bumper. There's 3 bolts here that are holding the fender. There's one on the corner here, there's one in the middle, and there's one that's a little bit further in. The outer one needs to be removed, where the middle one and the more inner one has to be just loosened. It's a number 7 ratchet, and I'm going to use it to loosen it, and then we'll be able to pop out this panel. I usually start it with a ratchet, and then I loosen it with just a socket. So the first one's here. The second one is here. And the third one's a little bit difficult to reach. It's towards the headlight. So I usually start it with the handle, and then I take off the socket and just back it out. And here's the one that we took out closest to the tire. So now that we removed the outer one and we loosened these two, we can pry this open and separate the bumper from the fender. There it is. And you can see here is just clips, but the outer one actually has a hole for the bolt. And there's one more bolt that we have to remove here. That's the one that's facing towards the front of the truck. It's a number 10. Now we can go to the other side. So let's start with all the Torx screws and the inner liner. And don't forget there's one on the inside. So now I'm going to peel back the liner. Just like the driver's side, we're going to remove this bolt and just loosen these two. Alright, so the outer one gets removed and the 2 inner ones you just loosen, and then we can just so now we're going to remove this bolt here. That's the one that's facing forward. So on the passenger side there's 2 harnesses. There's a large harness, that's the main one, and there's a small one here, and we have to unclip them. I'm going to use a prying tool in order to separate it from the truck. So now that we got this harness out, it's a little bit tricky how to unlatch it. So if you see there's a red clip, you want to press it down so that way this tab comes out of the groove. And instead of pulling them apart, I'll take this gray thing and slide it down, and this wheel's going to spin. So when you press it all the way down, you can unlatch it. So right underneath the main harness, there's also a small one. I'm going to unlatch it as well, and we'll bring it out and unhook it. So on the smaller harness, there's also a red tab. You want to bring it down, and then you want to squeeze and separate. Now we're going to remove all of these 7mm bolts across the bottom. There's a total of 10 bolts. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and unclip everything on top and kind of pull on it to separate these clips. And there it is. Good idea to have somebody help you hold the grill so it doesn't fall. So now that we got the front end off, we're going to install either 1 or 2 light bars. So here are the brackets that you get with the M&R kit. They are labeled, one for driver, one for passenger. So we're going to start by installing the driver's side bracket. That's the one that's identified with letter D. We're going to reuse either one of these two factory bolts that are holding the headlight. I'm going to use the one in the bottom. So I'm going to remove it, slide it through my bracket, and reinstall it. So now that we remove the factory bolt, we're going to thread it through the eyelet of the bracket, and we're going to reinstall it. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing on the passenger side. So I'm going to remove this bolt here, which is the middle one out of these three, but it's the lower one that's holding the headlight. I got my passenger side bracket. I'm going to thread that bolt through the eyelid, and we're going to reinstall it. I'm not going to tighten it all the way. I want to keep them a little bit loose. I'm going to thread the light bars through it, and then I'm going to tighten these bolts last. So now I'm going to grab one of the light bars, and I'm going to use supplied hardware, and I'm going to attach the light bar to the M&R brackets. We're going to finger tighten them first, and then we're going to use a wrench to get it nice and tight. So notice on this M&R bracket there's a rail, so you can shift the light bar up and down, so that way you can fit different type of grill styles. The one we're installing is on the Denali trim, but it fits all the other trims as well. So if you purchase one light bar, just align it with your grill design, tighten these bolts, and we're done. I'm going to show you how to install a second light bar. I'm going to grab my second light bar and use the supplied hardware to attach it to the bracket. So now that we got both light bars installed, let's go ahead and tighten the side bolts that hold the M&R bracket. Let me show you how I route the wiring into the engine bay. So you can take these wires and run it to the side of the headlight, and there's actually an opening underneath this brace here, and we could get them on this side. There's one. And here's two. And the main reason I wanted to go under is because there's this metal ridge here. If you go on top, you could potentially damage the wire later on. So pull them all the way out to eliminate any slack. And now you have wiring inside the engine bay. So we're going to come back to the wiring in a little bit. Let's go ahead and put the grill back on and make sure that we have good alignment of the light bars with the grill design. I feel like both light bars can be raised slightly, so that way most of the LEDs are fully visible. Keep in mind that this is the Yukon Denali trim, and it's typically the busiest one with the design of the grill. If you have a different trim that has a little more exposure, it will be easier to align these. So I'm going to remove the grill back and realign the light bars a little bit higher. So the way to readjust these light bars is very simple. Just loosen these bolts on the sides, and you can move them up and down, and retighten them. So now that we made adjustments to the light bar, we're going to go ahead and retest fit it. We have really good alignment for the light bars in between the grill slots. Let's go ahead and clip everything back together, and let's do the wiring. So we have the light bars installed, and we have the wiring in the engine bay. This is where we have to provide power to the light bars. If your vehicle comes with factory auxiliary switches, you can just connect these wires to your factory hookups. If your vehicle does not come with factory auxiliary switches, such as the one we're working on today, you can connect them by using the M&R wireless wiring controller. Let me show you how to assemble it. You get your operation manual, you get your stickers for the wireless remote. There's a remote, there's the actual controller, a magnetic pad for the remote. You use the 3M tape to put this pad in somewhere inside the cab, and then it'll just stick and create a base for the remote. You get some mounting zip ties, and we get a bag of hardware. You get a master fuse, and this is 100 amp. You get a fuse holder, and when you take the cover off, that's where we're going to connect the master power wire. So let's go ahead and connect the fuse. I'm going to go ahead and unscrew these two bolts. Take off the top washer. I'm going to go ahead and slide the fuse here. And we're going to also connect the two terminals. So inside the baggie you get two red wires. This is going to be our power wires. You get a ground wire. Also get an ACC wire. It's an optional feature. We're actually not going to use this ACC wire for this project because the fuse size is different, so we're going to put it away. So now that we're installing the master fuse for the fuse box, we're going to go ahead and connect the two power wires, one on each side. We're going to use the washer and the nut that we previously removed. On the second end, we do the same thing. We're going to connect the terminal. We're going to put a washer, a lock washer, and a nut. One end inside the box, one end to the battery, and there's a fuse in the middle. So let me show you how to connect this wire into this box. Let's go ahead and take off the 4 bolts. And if you look inside, there's a battery plus and a battery minus tag. So the red wire is going to go to the battery plus. We're going to unscrew this. I'm going to slide the terminal underneath it like that, and we can tighten it. Now that the positive is ready, we're going to do the same thing for the ground. It's a small terminal here. So now we have this unit assembled, and we can connect it to the battery of the truck. Now that we have our wireless controller assembled, let me show you how to connect it to the battery. So we're going to take the cover off, and we're going to put it aside. So let's do the positive first. There's a nut on the battery here. That's going to be our positive lead. Loosened it. We can slide our terminal underneath it, and we can tighten it. So this is going to provide our 12-volt current to the power distribution box. So now we can put the cover back on. All right, so the black negative terminal, we're going to ground it to the negative of the battery. There's a 10mm bolt that I can do here. So now that we loosen this nut on top, I'm going to slide our grounding strap to it, and we're going to tighten it. Once your positive and your negative is connected, you're going to see a solid green light here in the corner, and that's when you know you're ready to connect your accessories. So let's go over the wiring. If you purchased a single function light bar, you're going to get 2 wires. You're going to get a red wire, which is the positive, and you're going to get the black wire, that's the ground. If you purchased a dual function light bar, you actually get 3 wires. You're going to get the red wire, which is the positive to the main function, powerful white light. You're going to get the black wire, which is the ground, and you're going to get the white wire, which is the power wire to the Amber DRL, low intensity, daytime running light. So here, you're going to need 2 different power sources, where for the single function, you only need 1. So let me show you how to wire it up. All right, so let me show you how to do the single function first. I'm going to separate the black and the red. I'm going to feed the red wire through the bottom of the module. We're going to connect it on switch number 1. I'm going to loosen the terminal. I'm going to slide the wire underneath it, and I'm going to tighten it. So that's the power wire to our amber light. And we're going to install a dual function, meaning that we're going to have to provide 2 different power sources to control 2 different functions of this light. I'm going to separate the ground. We're going to slide the 2 power wires underneath. The main reason you're sliding underneath is because there's going to be a protective cover on top. So let's do switch number 2 is going to be the powerful white light. So I'm going to loosen it. I'm going to slide the wire and tighten it. And then we're going to do switch number 3 is going to be the amber backglow. Perfect. So this is all the powers. So now we also need some grounds. So for the 2 black cables, those are going to be the 2 grounds, 1 for each light bar. And we're going to fuse them together, and we're going to put an eyelet on top of it and crimp it. So now we need to ground it. We can either ground it using this bolt, or depending where you're going to install this box, we can ground it on the negative terminal of the battery as well. I'm going to pull some of this ground cable out, and we're going to reuse the same terminal from the battery that we were grounding the wireless remote. I'm going to slide the eyelid, and we're going to reinstall it. So now that we're done with everything, let's go ahead and clean some of this stuff up. We have the couple of coverings to trim. We're going to use some zip ties for all this access wire, and we're going to mount the module. So we do get questions on where to mount the module. You could either mount it on top of the fuse box with 2 screws, or you can zip tie it to a brace. All you want to do is just make sure that it's nice and stationary. So let's go ahead and test the lights. Switch number 1, that was going to be our powerful amber light. Switch number 3, that was going to be our low intensity daytime running light. And switch number 2 is our powerful white light. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got the confidence that you need to install this product yourself. I know you guys are going to absolutely love it.